In this video, we will understand about cell cycle and cell division. Cell cycle or cell division cycle is an ordered sequence of events occurring in a cell. Cell cycle results in cell growth and DNA replication, thereby forming two daughter cells. It is an essential process for the formation of a mature organism from single-celled fertilized eggs. Let's go through the figure below. In G1 phase, cellular contents excluding the chromosomes are duplicated. In S phase, each of the 46 chromosomes is duplicated by the cell. In G2 phase, the cell double checks the duplicate chromosomes for errors, makes any needed repairs. And in the mitosis phase, the cell splits its DNA into two copies, thereby forming two new daughter cells. The process of cell cycle promotes renewal and regeneration of hair, blood cells, skin, and certain internal organs. The formation of daughter cells by cell division indicates the start of a new interphase cycle. A cell splits after completing a sequence of events. For example, a cell grows, replicates its DNA, and then finally divides into two daughter cells. The cell cycle is termed a cycle because the events repeat itself. After completing one complete round, the newly formed daughter cells begin the same process all over again. The two key phases of a cell cycle are interphase and M phase or the mitotic phase. Every phase will be successfully activated on proper progression and completion of the previous phases. However, if a cell is temporarily stopped progressing or somehow stopped dividing, then the cell enter into another state termed as G0 phase, also called state of quiescence. Let's discuss the steps or phases in details. The first and the most important one is interphase. In this phase, the cell grows and produces a copy of the genetic material DNA. Interphase can be further subdivided into three distinct phases: G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase. The cell cycle begins after the division of mother cell into two new daughter cells. If the newly formed cell wants to move on, then it must divide itself. Subphases of interphase. Gap 0 or G0 phase. At times, the cell will leave the cycle and temporarily stop dividing. This is called a resting period. G1 phase. It is also termed as the first gap phase. In this phase, the cell starts growing and enlarges physically. It forms the copy of organelles, produces all the necessary molecular building blocks such as RNA, and also synthesizes proteins that are essential in later stages. S phase. In this phase, a cell produces a complete copy of DNA in the nucleus to produce two similar daughter cells. DNA replication begins in the S phase or the synthesis phase. Gap 2 or G2 phase. In G2 phase, the cell grows further, produces proteins and organelles, and starts rearranging the constituents of the cell for mitosis phase. The G2 phase ends when the mitosis process begins. Interphase can be summarized as the phase between two mitotic phases. In M phase, the cell splits its DNA into two copies. Additionally, the division of the cytoplasm takes place, thereby forming two daughter cells. M phase can be categorized into karyokinesis, the division of cell chromosome, and cytokinesis, the division of cell cytoplasm to form new daughter cells. M phase is categorized into two distinct phases, mitosis and cytokinesis. In this phase, the cell divides the duplicated DNA and the cytoplasm into two new daughter cells. Mitosis. The cell's nuclear DNA is condensed into chromosomes. These visible chromosomes are pulled apart with the help of mitotic spindles. Mitosis is further subdivided into four separate stages, including prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Cytokinesis. Cytokinesis begins after mitosis is complete. In this phase, the cytoplasm of the cell is divided into two daughter cells. By now, we know the cell cycle results in the formation of two new daughter cells. Now the question arises, what happens to the newly formed daughter cells after one complete round of cell cycle? This is entirely dependent on what cells are dividing. There are certain kinds of cells that divide quickly, and in these type of cells, the new daughter cells immediately enter into another round of cell division cycle. Alternatively, there are other types of cells that divide at a slow pace and sometimes completely stop dividing and enter into another phase called as G0 phase or resting phase. The cell will continue its usual function, such as neuron after the end stage does not divide but continue to conduct signals. I wish that this video will help you understand cell cycle and cell division in a simple manner. For the detailed lesson, please log into our website www.syft.in. Thank you.